Hey guys, and a very warm welcome back to What's for Tea, and I hope you're all having a great day and fantastic week so far. Right, so this is my recipe for a classic Victoria sponge cake, which, if you've never heard of it, is just a classic vanilla sponge cake. At the end of the day, it's so well known in this country, and it's you can fill it with whatever you like. Traditionally it would be filled with some whipped cream and some strawberry jam, but today I'm going to be using raspberry jam just because I prefer raspberry jam, and I'm also going to be whipping up a buttercream just because I would like the cake to last a wee bit longer, and obviously if you're using fresh cream it won't last as long. Right, so this is what I'm using today if you want to make it along with me. I'm going to be starting off with 2 teaspoons of baking powder, 4 medium free-range eggs, which should weigh about 200 grams with their shells on, or round about that, 200 grams of sifted self-raising flour, 200 grams of sifted caster sugar, 200 grams of room temperature unsalted butter, 6 or 7 fresh strawberries, that's just for decoration, 1 teaspoon of vanilla extract, 4 good heaped tablespoons of raspberry jam, but like I said guys, you can use strawberry jam if you prefer that, and I just personally prefer the flavour of raspberry jam. I think it's got a much fruitier taste. Right, so now we're going to move on to what you're going to need for your buttercream. You're going to need 340 grams of icing sugar, which has been sifted. You'll also need 150 grams of unsalted butter at room temperature, 3 tablespoons of whole milk and 1 teaspoon of vanilla extract. This is the jam I'm using today guys. This is beautiful raspberry jam. It's a wee bit pricier than normal jam, but the flavour is completely different. It's so fruity. I think it's about 60% fruit actually, and this is the vanilla extract I'll be using today. It's actually vanilla bean extract, and it's got a lovely vanilla flavour. Again, not the cheapest vanilla out there, but you know, this wee pot lasts a long time. And these are the sandwich tins that I'm using. They are 20 centimetre or roughly 8 inches diameter. The first thing you want to do is grease your tins. I'm just using the paper from the pack of butter that I've been using. Just give those a good grease. And then you want to go ahead and line the bottom with a circle of greaseproof baking parchment or greaseproof paper. Now I just drew round the bottom of these tins with a pencil and just cut out the circle, and it's a perfect fit. Takes 2 seconds to do, and it's a lot quicker than trying to eyeball it, because you waste so much paper trying to do that. It ends up too big, too small, uneven, so this is ideal. So just go ahead and preheat your oven. Then you want to move on and do your strawberries. Now I've just washed these, I've taken the green bits out, and I've halved them and then halved them again, or quartered if you like, and this is just for decoration. So you can make them any size or shape you like, whatever's going to suit your design. I'm just going to pop some onto the top of mine so they don't have to be flat, and just go ahead, refrigerate them until later, until you need them. So that's your strawberries done. We're now going to move on to the buttercream. Now this does take a wee bit of time, probably as much time as your cake batter takes, but take your time with it guys, it really is worth it. You want to start off and pop your butter in, give this a good beat for about 5 minutes. You can do this with a hand whisk, you know, if you would prefer, if you don't have one of these machines, but this makes it a lot quicker. So like I say, give it a good beat for a good 5 minutes. And then you want to add in half of your icing sugar, which is about 170 grams. It's well worth just giving it the time that it needs, because I think the filling is just as important, you know, as the actual cake itself. It makes all the difference. And beat it for about another 5 minutes guys. You're looking for this to eventually turn a very, very pale cream, almost white colour, and it's very yellow just now, as you can see. And if you've given it the right time, you'll achieve a lovely silky smooth, pale, almost white buttercream filling, which is beautiful. And then you can go ahead and pop the rest of your icing sugar in. Try and do it slowly and not as I've done, or you'll get a big cloud. Oh dear. And then give it another, 4 or 5 minutes, guys. Because you don't want to have the perfect cake, and your filling isn't that great. So once you're at this stage, as you can see, it's very thick now. So you want to go ahead and add your milk, and this will give it a lovely velvety texture. And just, give it another beat for about 4 or 5 minutes. And as you can see, it's much, much lighter now. And the texture is like velvet. It really is, so smooth. And as you can see, it's lovely. Well worth taking the time over. And you have the right consistency when it just drops off your spoon like that. If it's not dropping off your spoon like that, you can pop another wee bit of milk in. And I like to just add a wee pinch of salt. Not much, you don't have to do this. I just quite like the flavour of a wee bit of salt with the sweetness. And give it another wee stir through. If you're deciding to use the salt, that is. And what I usually do is I put half of my mixture into a piping bag and I keep the other half in the bowl, because I like to do a wee bit of piping on my sponge layer just for decoration. So you can just keep all yours in the bowl, or if you like, or if you want to do what I'm doing, you put half in your piping bag and the other half in the fridge, or both in the fridge, sorry. One in a pipe, half of it in a piping bag and half of it in a bowl. Oof. Now we're going to move on to your cake batter now, guys. Very similar method. You want to start off with your butter and also your sifted caster sugar. You just want to cream these together. Probably give this about 5 or 6 minutes. And again, it'll become lovely and pale. And you want to start adding your eggs now, guys. Just do one at a time, because you don't want it to curdle too much. So pop your first egg in and give it a gentle mix to begin with, and then you can speed it up a wee bit because you don't want your egg flying everywhere. Just give it about 3 minutes in between each egg. And obviously, I'm speeding this footage up. My mixer isn't actually, it's not going as fast as that. So you don't want to be going as fast as I'm going here. This is just for, to speed the video up a wee bit. Otherwise, this would be a 40-minute long video instead of probably 10-15 minutes. You just want to make sure, you can make any size of cake you like, but always keep the quantity of eggs, the quantity of sugar, the quantity of butter and the quantity of flour. Those are always exactly the same amounts. Like in this recipe, everything is 200 grams. So you wanted a bigger cake, you could do 300 grams of each. You want a smaller cake, 150 grams of each, it's up to you, but this is 200. So I've just transferred my mixture into a glass bowl just so you can see what I'm doing. And to this I'm going to fold in my sifted self-raising flour, and also I've added my baking powder into that as well. Now I could have done this in the stand mix as well, but I think that I just feel it's a bit vicious, the beating and the constant beating, so I just like to transfer this to a bowl and do it by hand. It's far more gentle. Again, take about 5 minutes doing this, guys. Just lift up and over, and eventually it'll be lovely and combined and full of air. And just gently does it. And it'll become looser and looser the more you do this. But you don't want to overwork this either, because you don't want to lose all of those lovely air bubbles that you see there. This is what's going to give your cake a lovely light fluffy texture. So just try and keep as much air there as possible. And again, you'll notice the right consistency when it's just dropping off the spoon like that. And if it's not, you can just add a wee bit of milk until you've got that. So all you need to do now is pop your mixture equally between your two tins. You can measure this if you like. I like to get them more or less the same, so I do measure my tins. Doesn't matter, it's maybe 5-10 grams of a difference, but you don't want there to be a massive difference, because when your cakes are baked at the end, one's going to be a lot thicker than the other one, or one's going to be more cooked than the other one, or so just try and keep them as even as you can. So this is good enough for me. Like I say, I'm not trying to win any awards with these cakes, guys. I just want to show you how to do a basic sponge, and it's absolutely delicious. It may not be the prettiest, I may not be the most expert baker out there, but everybody likes to try. And just go ahead with a spoon or a knife. I'm using an angled palette knife here, just to sort of smooth the top a wee bit. Doesn't have to be perfectly smooth, because when it goes into the oven and it heats up, it's going to collapse down a wee bit anyway and sort of even itself out. And that's that. So all you need to do now is pop these into your oven, in the middle of the oven. If your shelf's big enough, pop them both onto the same shelf. If not, put one underneath the other, but keep the shelves quite close together, because obviously the closer you get to the bottom of the oven, the cooler it gets. For about half an hour. Keep an eye on them once they've been in about 20 minutes, and they'll come out, or they should come out, looking like this. Lovely and yellow and golden, and just, in my eyes, just perfect. So all you need to do now is get your greaseproof paper off, let them cool completely, and then you can decorate them. Super springy and lovely and light. The first thing I like to do, guys, is get my sponge onto a turntable, or even a big plate if you don't have a, if you don't have a turntable. And I just plop my jam in the middle and spread it out, nice and evenly, right to the edge. And then I just go with my a buttercream filling and make a nice big thick ring around the the edge, and then plop my top on the top, and then decorate the top with some strawberries and the icing sugar. And that's it. Super simple. And it's so tasty and ultra light. I'm going to cut a wee wedge out in a second just to show you how light it actually is, but yeah, it's so light and it's so fluffy. And it's so easy, guys. So that was that. That was my Victoria sponge cake recipe. Thank you very much, guys, again for popping over and seeing what's going on. And until next time, take care of yourselves, and I'll see you then. So bye for now. Bye now.